think Jason's in New Orleans.
I get 8 hours of college in this week, so I've got 2:32. So this is something
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
say it's nice to have a full room back to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Makes a big difference. All right, we'll start off tonight by opening the oh man, I just lost my place. Opening the budget meeting. We'll keep this open from 6:30 to 7. During this time, the board can receive comments from the public on the budget. If there are no comments, the board will proceed with its regular meeting, and the public hearing will close at 7 o'clock. So I would open up for any budget comments that we might have. All right, nobody's stepping up, so we will go ahead and proceed with the regular meeting, and when it gets to 7 o'clock, we'll go back to this area. So do we have any changes to the agenda besides the revised agenda that everybody has in front of you? There should be 2 of them also. There's one that has a number 2 on it. Basically, that just added a effective date on one of the consent agenda items.
Motion to move the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move forward with this agenda. Do we have any public comments this evening? Aside from the budget, go ahead. Yeah, no, these aren't tied to the budget. So go ahead, just public comments. Please state your name and your address too, for the record.
And I'm concerned about school safety. Locks on the doors are not automatic locks when someone goes through the door. And they should be, because all this stuff that's happening in the country today, we need to be, our kids to be safe. And if we can't lock them doors, they're gonna come right on in. And all it is an automatic lock, whoever's in charge of pushing the button, lets someone in when they take their name. We won't contact them.
We do have that at every elementary school, the junior high, and it is in the future at the high school. That is something that we've also taken seriously. Every entrance to the elementary schools and the junior high are card locked, to where the only people that can get in are people with the card to get in. So that's how you access the buildings, or you go through I call them airlocked entrances, where you have a double door set up, they're locked, you go in, you make contact with the building secretary, and they determine whether or not you're allowed to proceed into the building, or they just get your kid and bring them up. So yeah, it is something that we are taking seriously, and we have made those upgrades to at this point all of the schools but the junior high or the high school, and it's something that we're working on for the high school as well. So
What else is going on? You know, by now, you guys would have been, hey, we need to get this done ASAP.
for what are you talking about?
Same thing, if one kid gets killed because you didn't do your job, who's gonna be responsible?
There are a number of things that we have in place. We have our school resource officer here this evening, Jeff Hamlin. We appreciate you. You do a great job with this as well, making your presence known in the schools. We've got a lot of interaction with the students, with the teachers and the other employees that are there at the schools, just kind of keeping an eye on the kids, making sure that everybody's heads are checked and everybody knows where everybody's at. We are taking this seriously. We're working on a long-term plan for that will address the high school and specifically security at the high school.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in the spot. Okay, you're working on a long-term plan.
Yes.
What is your immediate plan? I mean, what are you doing now?
What are we doing now?
You got one resource officer for 2 schools. I'm sorry, but that ain't enough. I'm sorry, but sir, I appreciate you the whole 9 yards. You're good at what you do. But he can't be expected to handle both of them at the same time. If you send one guy in to do the job, that ain't enough. You need 2 at least. Okay? You need at least 2. Well, he can tell you. You don't want to do it by himself. He wants to go home at night too. But you're asking me to. Granted, we haven't had that problem yet here. Well, we did once.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Okay, but nobody seems to be, we need to do something now. Nobody does.
To speak candidly, we do allow our employees to carry concealed.
Yes.
If they choose to go through the proper training and legally get a concealed carry permit, they are allowed to carry. That's something that this board has taken very seriously.
Very serious.
And you know, there's a lot that goes into this. I would say if you want to have a conversation specifically about school safety and kind of get into some of the protocols, I would make contact with Terry Martin, our superintendent here, and he will happily have that conversation. And if you want me involved, I can be involved as well. This is something I do personally take very seriously.
Something that I think you guys need to be very involved with. And don't wait.
Jason?
Yes,
have-
go ahead.
It takes 10 minutes to be trying to make a decision, let's do it.
We have ongoing things with the police department every, how long is it? 3 months?
Yeah.
If we do that, you might explain some of that.
That'll be coming up.
Okay. It'll be coming up in the,
Yes, go ahead.
I kind of sympathize with his concern, but I'm probably a little older than most of the people here. I graduated in '65. Never had these problems when I was in high school. Never had problems with mass shootings and stuff. And that's because I think that generation, or my generation anyway, there was a little bit more concern about thinking for yourself and not indoctrination. There's a little bit more, you made the Pledge of Allegiance, and that's something. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, one nation, under God. Now, I talked to the curriculum director here, and I asked him, I said, I don't know what you're teaching in school. And I asked for the curriculum, and I asked for the high school thing, and I went to the elementary school. And I kind of got the runaround. People said they would tell me what the curriculum was. And, I asked specifically, what kind of books are you teaching in history and English? And, because, like, he's concerned about the violence, I'm concerned about the curriculum. Because what a person thinks is how they're going to act. And if you think the wrong way, you're going to act the wrong way. And when I see the Bible being taken out of the schools, and I asked the curriculum director, I said, do you preach biblical principles in the schools? She goes, we're not allowed to teach the Bible in the school. I go, I don't think that's true, because I looked up at the statutes, the Oregon Department of Education statutes. It doesn't say anything about that. That decision comes from you guys. Because if you understand the Constitution, the federal government dictates they have certain criteria. Then they dictate to the state dictates to the counties. You can look around various counties in the country and school boards that are controlled by liberal thinking or the teachers union or whatever, do whatever they want. And so it's obvious that local control is where it's at. And so if we actually pledge allegiance to a flag, to a country that was based on godly principles and stuff, and then you don't teach those principles in school, I think this is the big problem. People are desensitized, and you have the abortion issue, you have rioting for the Supreme Court justices. You desensitize the kids, you take religion out, and God, and the Bible out of school, and you feed the kids full of secular humanism, that God doesn't make any difference, that it's all man is the big thing. So when you do that, and you allow debauchery and stuff like that, I don't care how many laws you make to make something legal, that doesn't make it moral, doesn't make it just, doesn't make it right. So my concern is that the kids are being, I watch some of the college kids, they can't think for themselves. All they do is regurgitate some left-wing propaganda. And it's sad. When I went to school, teachers that impressed me most, 3 of them I had, all of them combat vets, 2 of them were Marines and 1 of them was an Army. They made you be accountable for what your actions were, and teach that, you know, but also should be able to teach creationism, you know, read the Bible. This is how God describes it, not how man describes it. Somebody once told me that truth and the lie walk the same highway. It's our responsibility to discern the truth from the lie and make the proper decisions. And when you do, and so the teachers, I would hope that they have the responsibility to at least stimulate the kids to think for themselves. Now, not everybody is going to believe, you know. Jesus said, many are called, few are chosen. Not everybody makes the right choices. And hell is going to be full of people that made the wrong choices. But everybody needs the opportunity, and everybody should be afforded the opportunity to at least choose for themselves. That's why God gave us a free will. Why He gave us a conscience. Why He gave us a brain. You know, He gave us a spirit. And He says, look around. My creation testifies of my presence. So the truth is out there. All you got to do is open your eyes. And if you don't, you make the wrong choices, then that's on you. But any teacher that feeds these kids a lie, then it's going to be on them too. And so this concerns me. I think if people thought rightly and thought righteously and put God above, where He's supposed to be, then we wouldn't have to have this gentleman's concern about having police officers in the schools, because there would be no need for it. Because parents would see, parents wouldn't be teaching. There's no way in the world that my parents would have said when I was 4 or 5 years old, oh, do you want to wear a dress, John? Or you're not a boy. You could be a girl, you could be an it, you could be something else. That never would have happened. This is happening now. So we have to deal with the problem now, and it's important that the truth, well, Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And so you either believe that or you don't. You believe the Bible or you believe man. It's one or the other. And the word says that even though you don't believe me, it doesn't make it false. You know, my word is sovereign. And what you think is irrelevant if it doesn't line up with the truth. So I think that the way people think, the way the kids think, the way the community thinks, parents need to teach their kids right from wrong. You can't call good evil and evil good. It just doesn't work. And when you see evil, and you say, well, that's cool, that's okay, that's not wrong, or you ignore it, then you're part of the problem. And I don't think this officer back here, I know he could have been in my high school, and he could have sat in an office and drank coffee all day. Because things like that didn't happen. The teachers kind of.
Could we wrap
People didn't bring guns and knives
could we wrap this around? Could we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got other people that might want to speak.
Jason,
a time frame here.
Say who he was.
Yeah, could you just so that we have it for the record, state your name, I'm sorry.
John Morano.
Thank you. And I would just ask if you have any questions regarding curriculum. It's an open book. We're going through a curriculum adoption on a couple of different subjects here in the near future. The curriculum will be on display here in the boardroom for a period of time for anybody to come in and inspect, go through it. And I would again ask you to work with the superintendent if you have specific things that you want to look at. It's not that anybody's trying to hide anything like that. This is all part of the process that we go through to adopt curriculum. It's open, it's set out for people to inspect, and so we'd invite you to do that. Any other comments?
Do you have one? Yeah,
I just wanted to
your name,
thank
please.
that gentleman, my name's Gary Marcinkowski, I'd like to thank the gentleman for what he shared. I would second that. And I came in to find out what curriculum is, so I'm glad you're gonna do that. I'd like to come back when that happens and know the time frame for that.
I don't know the time frame. It'll be announced. Just watch. We'll have it announced. It's open for like a week or two that we have it here set out. It's all part of the curriculum adoption process that it's here. So
I would just add, I know that I've heard there's 27 churches in this small community. I would think the majority of the people would be in favor of what that man just said. Good Christian, family values, patriotic would be the heartbeat of the city, freedom loving, constitutional loving people. And I would hope the teachers would respect that to the children and would want to pass on the same, we can't say, all parents are doing that or all families are like that. But I would think the majority of them, if there's that many churches in this town, they must have some American Christianity foundation in their heart and soul. And that I would hope the teachers would respect that. And if they're not teaching those kind of values, then I would hope they would change their curriculum and they try to display, be an example, role models to the children that their parents would appreciate and respect. And I grew up in a parochial school, and discipline and respect for authority from a young age was drilled, let's just say. You might say I was brainwashed to respect the police, any adult. And I think that's one of the missing links. Parents aren't good role models, or teachers could almost say that they are almost a parental type role today in the life of these children, because there's so many absentee fathers, single home mothers, single mothers, that teachers really need to come to cost in what they're doing and what they're teaching the children. I hope they would put the writing and arithmetic in there primarily, give them a foundation for life, because without the basics, we're going to have such a, we already got a screwed up society, but give it another 10 or 20 years, if they don't know how to read, write, do basic math, how can they go out and even establish their own business or go to college or whatever they call to do or want to do? They don't have a foundation. So I'm just hoping the schools are doing that here. And they have to reconsider and scrap the whole program and start over, do it. It's not an extreme, but I'm really, hate to say, we got to see where are we going? Why are we, like this man said, we need guns now, all this. Why is it going in that direction? And we all have a responsibility for this community to keep it online, keep law and order, try to raise children up to respect law and order and authority, and also become responsible citizens in this country, in this state. Amen? Amen. All right, thank you. That's all I have to say.
thank you. Any other comments? All right, hearing none.
I do.
Oh, okay.
Very nasty. So I had a child who was 10 years ago in the public school system, not in this town, but that she went and talked to somebody about becoming trans, and no one calls me or let me know. And it had gone on for over a year, and was giving her information. And before I knew it, she was changing, and it was very challenging as a parent to try to combat something that has been hidden from me for a year. So my question for the school board is, if a child goes to any of the counselors or anybody in authority in the school and says that they are thinking about changing or having questions about their gender, is that something that is immediately turned over to someone called a parent? In other words, the parent informed right away.
I would have to defer that to superintendent as to the process on something like that.
I don't know that I could definitively answer that. The counselors have training on how to handle those things. If, for example, the student is in jeopardy by that being revealed, probably not. But if they're not, then it probably would be shared. And by jeopardy, like physical abuse, have you talked to your parents? I said, I told my parent sister that, and this is what happened. Because a lot of times that can be met, in a variety of ways. So if it would put the student in physical harm, it'd probably go a different route, other resources.
But if a child comes for some sort of counseling that the parents are brought in.
The parents are very important partners, so yeah.
They're receiving a phone call and your child was here and you're having this discussion, I just want to bring this to your attention. Unless there's some sort of a jeopardy.
There are several at the high school, and then one at each elementary school, one at the junior high. Is the ideal. Foster had coverage this year from other counselors. They were not able to hire one. They advertised the position all year. But the intent is to have, one at every school and multiple at the high school, just based on student numbers.
Yeah.
I got a question. Like I said, when did these kids decide that they're transgender or non-binary? This is my personal opinion.
I don't know that we're gonna get answers to questions like this here tonight.
They don't get, that information doesn't come from their own brains. Somebody's feeding this to them. They got to. They look around and it's tolerated in society. It's accepted now. And it doesn't matter how many laws you make, it doesn't make it right. And so, the parent is the ultimate authority over the child, not the school, not the teachers. They're not their mothers and fathers, The parents need to know. It's just like if a teenage girl, 15 or 16, came to a counselor and asked for abortion advice, you need to call the parents immediately. It's not even the counselor's job. That's way beyond their pay grade. You call the parents and let them know. That's just common sense and common decency. So, I have a big problem with that. I don't know about this school, but I know there's a lot of schools that, everything is kept in the parents because the state feels that they're the custodian. The parents are just the providers. The state is the custodian of the kids. And that's the philosophy that's prevailing in this country now. And I'm here to tell you that it don't fly with me. I don't know about you people. I don't know how many of you people are God-fearing people. I don't know what your political views are, your spiritual views, but that's way outside your prerogative to keep secrets and stuff like that. That's the parents' responsibility. If they fall down, well then it's their burden to bear. It's not yours.
All right, we need to move on. Is there anybody else that has a comment? Can we keep it short? We need to keep moving with the meeting. Yeah.
I agree with most of everything that's been said, but for me and our household, we're Christians too, and it all boils down to what is taught at home. And I think that the teachers, whether you agree with what we're saying or not, but the school, the teachers, support what the parents are saying. Like if we say something's wrong, I wouldn't want some teacher or somebody else telling my kid, no, your mom's wrong, something like that. And not all, there's non-Christian people too, although, if certain clubs are allowed, why couldn't the Bible study be allowed, or, just you know, be respectful either way. But to me, it just all boils down to what is taught at home.
Thank you. All right. I think we'll go ahead and move on now. It is about 2 minutes before the end of our budget hearing, so I will go ahead and open up again if there's anybody that has any comments on the budget. Okay, hearing none. That didn't take very long. Let's go ahead and get our certified and classified representatives on here real quick. So I don't see Velma or Steve here at all. Things must be okay. They're not here to yell at us, so.
Please state your name for the record.
I will say that I appreciate both of them and the conversations that we've had through this year, being a tough year, tough on teachers, tough on the classified. The lines of communication were good and open, and I appreciate that out of both of them. They've been straightforward and honest, and that's all you can ask for, is let us know what's really going on. So, all right, I've got 6:59 by my watch and 7 o'clock by that one. We'll call it. I will go ahead and close the budget hearing now, and we have an action item later on. Do we do that now, or do we do that just when it comes up?
You can do it now or later.
We'll go ahead and do it when it comes up as an action item. That way we can move through the rest of this tonight. So superintendent's report. Terry, I'll turn it over to you.
We do have a student present. Can we get a student?
Sure, yeah.
Would you like to give a student report?
I'm Ethan Malvago. I'm a ninth grader at the high school, and I'm part of the leadership class. And this year, I've just come in to high school, obviously, I've noticed that a lot of students, I think everybody knows, we hadn't been listening to the morning announcements a lot, and so all of us leadership people and Miss Rosa, the leadership director, we all decided that we needed to change that and make it more interesting, so everybody would start listening to it. And so we came up with the idea of creating a newscast. And today was the last one, and I think throughout the entire session we have had really good attention towards it, and everybody listen to it. My first year, so I think I really like it.
You get to take a step up the ladder this year. Yes.
You forgot to say with those morning announcements, looking at one of our videos, his father's made daily videos and all these different managed jobs videos, all these, and we have he's training another cadre of kids. So your role on it, I saw you on the TV on the side that you over the last one. So he is big in the actual, not just the idea, but part of the creation. So I don't know if you edit and video and
I do the filming and the editing at home, so I edit almost 90 hours for this test.
so the rest of the story.
He's humble too. All right, thank you. All right, Terry, go ahead.
Okay, starting off with enrollment. We are 22 off of the 4-year average in your report, I believe. Going back to the 18-19 school year, we finished with 2,262 total students per enrollment. In the 19-20 year, it was 2,269. Last year, we had a considerable dip at 2,169. This year, we finished at 2,204. And so 2204, I think, is a strong finish for us. Points to good things come. We had a very large graduating class, and so the numbers continue to look strong.
Okay.
With graduation, we had 182 students that graduated, 177 participated in the ceremony. For me, I think the graduation started the evening before with the parade. The parade is something, in my understanding, that came out of pandemic times, and it was strong. There was people lined the parade route all the way through, from little bitty preschool kids all the way up through probably, great grandparents. And so that was well attended. At graduation, we made it. I appreciate everybody that was there. We had school board members there. We had a lot of the high school staff. We had a good number of the directors there. We made it halfway through prior to the rain starting. Once it started, there was no let up. The High Q Club presented an award to Karen Molthius, a Sweet Home grad who's gone on to win numerous awards in various musical endeavors. A lot of the feedback that I had is people really appreciated having graduation outside. And from talking with people at the parade, people around town since graduation, it did rain. We knew it was going to. We planned the best we could. That really made a difference in the number of people that could attend graduation. When we go inside, it really has to be limited. And then it was also live streamed as well. So that ended up being a good call. I appreciate the board's support with that. I think it's probably something we should look at continuing. And that just, graduation was a really proud moment for me, both as a parent having a graduate and as superintendent, kind of the culminating event of the year. Number 3, moving on to school safety. Due to the board's forward thinking, the previous bonds and the seismic retrofit, the majority of the schools, as we talked of, do have the safety vestibules, all of the elementary plus the middle school, and have them currently. The high school will still need to be worked on. We have cameras in all of our schools. Those continue to increase in both numbers and clarity. The police are able to log into our cameras at our request while they're on site, and they can see in all of the schools in real time. We have the photo key cards. This has been a great step in helping improve. We don't have, the number of keys floating around in the community. These can be turned on and off instantly. Plus you have the ID feature of who it is and the log of who's coming and going. We've got lock blocks on all of our classrooms, and that, gives us the ability to lock down quickly. Subs can use them. Regular employees, they're very simple to use. You slide the lock block, close the door, and it's locked. So we've recently completed installation of landline telephones in all of our classrooms district-wide. And so that's a significant step there as well. We do have the single point access. Folks are funneled through the main entrance. So like at the junior high, in previous years, a number of different entrances and exits were used. And for the last 2 years, students have come in right through the front door, and the exits, other exits are not in use. Our school buses are satellite tracked. We view them in real time. There are out of area alerts that we'll send in if the bus goes, to an area where it's not supposed to. The buses have mobile hotspots on them, and there's additional safety provisions built in with the buses. Kitchen served, acknowledge both our kitchen staff and transportation. The kitchen served 162,929 breakfasts and 196,100 lunches.
Transportation has transported about 540 students daily, which over the course of the school year is right about 97,000 passengers for a total of 157,585 miles, with an additional 23,125 miles for student trips. We're piloting use of sunset visitor badges. And so check into the office, get a visitor's badge, and as the time goes on, the ink migrates from the back of the badge to the front of the badge. And so it will actually, it's self-voiding. Void will show up after a predetermined number of, amount of time, so that those passes cannot be reused. We did have Sweet Home Police Department at graduation and also at the all-night party for our seniors. That's a great event for our seniors. And then we do have ongoing meetings with the Sweet Home Police Department to update our community safety plan. And then Officer Hamlin, did you want to speak to that, the upcoming training?
Mark, I mean, if you wanted me to kind of talk about things that we've been doing in regards to school safety, because obviously we understand that's come to the forefront of everybody's mind lately. So as he did mention, one of the things we've been doing is having periodic meetings amongst the police department and school district staff. Initially started out kind of us going over the school district's plan and what their response would be if we were to have an active shooter incident. The next meeting was for us as the police department to kind of talk about our plan, so everybody understood how each entity worked together. The last meeting we've had, we also incorporated the Lane County Sheriff's Office, because obviously we have Pauley School, which is out in county's jurisdiction, as well as the fire department, because they're going to be an integral part of removing people if we were to have an incident like that. So getting all those team players together to start talking about how we can improve. I think we've identified a lot of areas that we can improve on, and each entity is working on making those improvements as they can. And one of the things is the police department that we're going to be doing hopefully this summer, because as you guys may know, we have a lot of new staff, a lot of officers that have never really been through active shooter training, is we're trying to coordinate with the Department of Public Standards, Safety and Training through the state to actually host a active shooter training here. So it would be for our new officers as well as me and our senior officers who have been through multiple of these trainings. It's always good to have a refresher, as well as we would open up to other agencies in the area to come in and get that training as well. So that's something we can hope we can work with the school district and use their facilities to host that training this summer.
Sounds great.
All right. That's my piece. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Appreciate being here.
I got to go back to work.
Okay. And then coming up next, we have the school year highlights report from the schools. So Josh, if you could do that for us, please.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Hawthorne Elementary. All right. And one more. There we go. You're going to see a blank up in the left-hand corner. We've been working on this all afternoon. So it has been my honor to serve as your Hawthorne Elementary principal this year. And my husband and I are so happy to have made Sweet Home our new home. So I thank you for that opportunity. I'm here tonight to share some highlights with you from the 21-22 school year. And at Hawthorne, I think you know we're truly a family. And I just wanted to share that with you. We have 19 certified and 29 classified staff who truly do have each other's back. Right, Parker? We really do. I inherited a wonderful little school there, and there have been so many highlights that it was really hard to pick pictures. And from our superintendent, he said, choose 2 photos. I had a really hard time doing that. You can see that. What you see on the right-hand side of the screen there are 2 pictures that actually made the front page of the New Era newspaper recently. We had the 6th grade outdoor school and the annual traditional ballroom dance. On the bottom in the middle, our 6th grade versus faculty and staff basketball game, all of which were major hits. And all of these events have fortunately made a comeback this year after COVID. So yay for that, right? Also, you will see a Kona Ice picture in the upper right-hand corner. Our staff received a free treat as well as school. And we received more votes online on Facebook than even some of the larger schools in Lebanon and some of the larger other areas in the surrounding area. So we were pretty tickled about that. Anyway, besides our monthly PBIS activities, our active Title I intervention program, our MTSS programs, and assessment tools that drive our instruction, a couple of examples of the standards of excellence to which we hold ourselves at Hawthorne is that Ms. Hatchard's class, I had to share this with you, earned a total of 1,094 AR points this year, which equates to a total of them reading 2,184 AR books, second graders, which is just amazing to me. They had a little event last week and literally blew my socks off. I threw my socks across the room. They kind of got a big kick out of that. They thought that was fun. Also, recently we were champions at our 4-5-6 track meet where we won the relays in 5 out of 6 events. Sorry, guys. You know, I've been trying to run up you guys ever since I got here, and finally the kids did it for me. Anyway, at the end of the meet, they have the overall events, and it was just fantastic. But you know, the best part of that track meet was when our 6th graders ran alongside of our pals, kiddos, and then cheered them on at the end and encouraged them and just loved up on them. And that was really the best thing, showing kindness and generosity and just showing compassion for them was really the best part of the whole thing. So not only did our athletes shine, but our kiddos shine too. I mean, in amazing ways. One last item I want to share, if we can get this video to work, and I have a feeling that I'm not going to get it to work because there's not even the little arrow button, but I'm going to make sure that you guys see this at some point. It was the kindergartners last week in our presentation that they did a wonderful little kindergarten celebration, and it was the letter sound challenge. And if I will get this video to you where you can hear every single letter and every single sound that the group has learned. It is absolutely amazing. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you for letting me share about the amazing Hawthorne Hornet. So thanks, guys. And I probably took way too long, Terry, sorry. Don't ever give me the mic.
Debbie's taking all my time, that's okay. I actually brought a couple of visitors here. I wanted to take my time to celebrate the volunteers that make our school what it is. So, Miss Patty Higgins, Miss Grandma, come on up here. Come up with me. So, I think you got this in your board packet as an addition. Just a thank you, I'm going to be sending out to the community to thank all of our volunteers. But I wanted to thank Patty, who's our PTC president, puts on all our events. The carnival this year was amazing. The community came out in full force. We finally had an event where everybody could come. I'm sure we're at capacity, Kevin, in the gym. It wasn't over. But we raised $7,300 for Oak Heights Playground. So good job. Grandparents in Schools program. She volunteers every single day of the school year, all day in our first grade classroom. So I want to say thank you so much for that. We've got some awards for that. Thank you, guys. Okay, let me get this for you. I think Josh is next.
I like to say that up like I thought. So I put some pictures up here. The one on the lower left is I took up at outdoor school. Outdoor school was fantastic this year. In past years, we've always looked for spring break, which also meant that outdoor school often had snow at it. Is that what it is? Which made things muddy and soggy and wet. And even though it is still winter right now outside, the week that we went up there, it was really, really nice. And so it was great to have outdoor school up there. All the kids interacting, a lot of volunteers, including some of the people that I just talked to.
being respectful, responsible, safe, and kind. And then once a month, they get to come spin them. And that was just an example of one of the PJF things that we did a few weeks ago. Right, we have a very full week this week. We had a character ambassador cooking today, kindergarten graduation tomorrow, field day on Wednesday, and then Thursday there's great to go. So things are going great for us, and I think
a couple of highlights here. The one at the top left is our cafeteria. We took the baton from the high school and the junior high. They were the first to bring back breakfast service, and we brought back breakfast in April. And that is our first day. It's really hard to tell. The first day we were serving, but the line was out the door for that morning. Those kids were so excited to finally be able to use the cafeteria in the morning, get breakfast. We were able to minimize waste because students have been only taking out of the bag breakfast what they wanted. So we were able to minimize waste, and then we were able to work with transportation to keep our buses a little cleaner. Because kids had a tendency to leave what they didn't want on the bus. So we were really happy and excited to bring that back. It's been full every single morning, so we're looking forward to continuing that program next year. I did not get a picture, but I did want to highlight and thank Kristen Adams and the team at the high school. When our seniors walked around in their caps and gowns a few weeks ago to every single elementary school, it was amazing to see the looks on the faces of elementary students, to watch the graduates, to see what they're striving for, and to physically put an image with what they are working for. So I hope it's a tradition that we can continue in the future, but it was a positive thing that we were able to bring back after a couple years in its absence. And the last photo here I have, this was last Friday. This is the courtyard of Foster Elementary. The picture does not do it justice because a couple hours on Friday, we got to have our annual Jumbathon for the first time in 3 years. So students asked for sponsorships from their families and friends. The money raised helps Foster Elementary purchase technology needs or things for the school. We were able to bring that back. The kids had a lot of fun for a couple hours jumping with other grade levels, other classmates, and we were able to raise over $5,400 for Foster Elementary. It's been a trying year, trying for everybody, but we're happy to be back on track, and we look forward to closing out this year. This week is a busy week. We've got field day on Wednesday, 6th grade promotion on Thursday, and tomorrow we have a staff luncheon, appreciation staff luncheon sponsored by Freedom Church here in town. So we're excited about that, and we look forward to getting things ready for next year.
So thank you, board, for having us here tonight, or having me. I just want to say point of order. We were told 1 to 2 minutes, 2 pictures only. We're all wrong. So I just want to share with you guys, there is the seniors walking through this year. That was a proud moment, I guess, for us at the junior high to have the seniors come through. I tried to get a picture. I ran around the entire school, catching 5 different spots. Tried to get a picture that showed our students lining the halls. So if you look down towards the end, down that red hall there, you'll see our students on the right-hand side. They're also on the left-hand side. So the high schoolers got to walk through a gauntlet of students through our entire halls and school, high-fiving kids, high-fiving us, hugging adults that helped them through high school and stuff. And so that was amazing. And the other picture I wanted to share with you guys is in the top right. That's our BLS class. They got all dressed to the nines, and they went to Lebanon for a BLS prom. And so they actually had a prom this year, and that was pretty meaningful for all of us. We had some tourists over there that were helpers that helped in the classes and shared other things there. So it was a good time. Thank you.
All right, John, in just a minute, we're going to do so I want to highlight a couple things just with We had Cafeteria, went well, it always does. We had senior scholarship night, The total number, we had kids who went in the military. Weird deal, when I was in the military, I don't think they gave me quite as much money as maybe my son and others, but, they, all over the military, private colleges, state colleges, different state awards, different local awards, it was about $2 million. For our students, so it was incredible for us. That was wonderful. And then get to here, Josh. All right, I've got to see if I can make the mouse work with my finger. Dr. Larry Horton, many of you know Dr. Larry Horton. He comes to the high school periodically with little needs that he has. And so, I'll stand to my back now for it. Those different needs that he has, he comes in and he'll go to game night that works with Club and works with the National Excitement. It says we need some people at the senior center, we need some people for this project. And so he gives us plenty of opportunity for our students to be involved in the community. And a great thing, Ann and I were talking today, and I said, I appreciate you so much, you know, my adults like me, that is there and get to know you in the community. But the great thing there is we talked about it, we both agree. Kids are helping in a good public relationship with the community. But both of us that how many kids they don't really get. Kids serving the way we're doing have to serve them. And so that's a huge part of it. Dr. Burton brought another project to us, and I'll let my kids tell you about the project.
Hi, I'm Kayleen Zajic. I'm in the wood shop with Mr. Coltrane, and we are building huts for the homeless people. And my part in building the huts is I'm building the bed frames by measuring and cutting out and putting them back together. So that is what I'm doing today.
My name is Kendra, and my part of this project was staining and painting the deck. Stained it for the weather.
Pretty much just have a book that we go off of. Take the measurements and we take every piece, cut them, put it all together and get a final product. To cut our 2x4s, we use a table saw, chop saw, and then we'll set it at an angle for some of the pieces. We'll set a 22-degree angle, and we're using a air-operated nail gun to put it all together.
So this is one of the decks that goes on one of the shelters. Right now it's being stained. This is one of the walls that is getting ready to go on one of the floors. This is one of the storage rooms. We got stands to set the floors on, which is this right here. That's stained, all of that's stained. This is just ready to be put together. So basically what we had to do is we ordered sheets of plywood, and it took about a week to cut out these pieces right here. As you can see, these are all separate pieces. So we got this side piece, that side piece, and then we cut out these pieces right here. And basically, we just got them all cut out and ready to go, and we stored them in our storage room over there until we're ready to go. It feels good that I can actually do something for the community here in Sweet Home, and I'm actually getting experience while doing it. You know, I can take this into the real world after I graduate high school, and who knows, maybe I can start my own construction company or join a construction team or...
Here's to the broken man who stood in ward when he heard you can't. It shows me that faith is more than sight.
There's a lot of cool things that are going on and a lot of skills that kids can learn through this project, and it's a great service learning project that we're working in cooperation with the Rotary Club in the city. There's another nonprofit organization that is kind of overseeing this. This is completely funded through third-party grants and donations. It's not coming out of the school's budget, it's not coming out of the city's budget. It's a community-driven project, which is good for the kids to see and good for the kids to be a part of.
Got hog paneling, got the tar on all the corners, hog paneling hung, everything's stained. I mean, it teaches us from how to read a tape measure to working with people. It's kind of nice to be able to build stuff like this and be trusted to build it. And you're expected to work, so that's what we all do.
Oh, sorry. Josh, we're going back to the world.
Outtakes, really.
Wait, we need the off button.
That's it for my reports. Really proud of the work that Sweet Home is doing, our staff, our kids. There's a lot of good here.
Thank you. All right, next we have the consent agenda, number of hirings and resignations. And want me to go through them all, or?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second, any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next, we have the budget update and ESSER report. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Item 6A in the board packet for the budget update. Year-to-date spending through May has increased by just over $321,000 as compared to the same period last year. The most significant increases are with classified salaries, substitute expenses, and supply and material costs, which include bus fuel. Offsetting some of the increase, you'll notice our license salaries are actually down as compared to last year. And the reason for that is we took all of our teachers that are serving relatively small class sizes, meaning 18 students or fewer on average. We reclassed that expense either to our state student investment account or to the federal one-time emergency funds that we're receiving that can be used for things such as small class sizes to help students. And so when we go to the next page, you'll see that increase, but that is helping the general fund this year, that reclass. So if you turn to the next page, this shows our elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund spending. This is the federal one-time funds that we've received. We are receiving ESSER 1 funds, ESSER 2 funds, and ESSER 3 funds. The ESSER 1 funds have been spent, and you can see what those items were spent on. ESSER 2, you'll see class size reduction. That's where those teacher salaries have been charged to, and we're well on our way to spending all of our ESSER 2 funds, and then our ESSER 3 funds we'll be working on next.
Any questions for Kevin? All right, thanks, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have a facility report. Josh.
I don't have a cool video to show you guys. Not this time. But so this summer we don't have a big remodel going on like we have in the past oftentimes, but junior high we're going to be abating the classroom floors for the asbestos. That will be the last. That school will be totally clean then. So that'll be the last of it there. So that's cool. And then we're going to go back with the polished concrete like we have in the hallways, and we did the new construction. That'll be in the classroom, so it'll be that uniform look throughout. That'll be good. We're looking at planning for Oak Heights and Hawthorne, what we can do there. Hawthorne being, they need a cafeteria separate than the gym. And so we're talking about looking at making plans there to be able to separate those, however that could be done. And Oak Heights did not get the seismic grant this go around. And so we're going to be looking at what ways we can do things there that aren't going to be done and then have to undone for the seismic retrofit. The amount that they're talking that seismic will be exceeded the grant anyways, and so if there's things we can do that fit in within that. So by talking to the engineer and figuring out, like if we redo the front office space to match the other elementary schools, how can we do that seismically correct so that it doesn't have to be undone later? So that's a process that we're going to start jumping towards. And then also working with the architect at the high school. As you guys know, that California design in the back is crazy to try to make a secure building out of, and we brought up earlier today about the security, which we've really been working at improving at all of our schools. But part of, we would like to, in the not too far future, be able to get another bond where we can secure the high school and remodel that back so it's able to be secured. If there's things we can do now to help that cost come down, like redoing the front office and entryway, and do that in-house to create that same vestibule like the others have, though the back of the school being open, it doesn't completely do it like theirs, but it gets us moving toward what we want in the future. And so we're looking at that also, of being able to do that, and that size of project we can do in-house, so it's going to save us a ton of money for us to be able to bite off chunks of that big project that'll be in the future. Then also at the high school this summer, you mentioned cameras. You said, the police they can see them. And so every elementary, when we went through there, where they did have, I think they had like 10 cameras or 12. Some of the ones that had more had 15. They have 35 to 50 cameras now. There isn't a place in there. So for security, when you read all the stuff on that, you obviously have to make the building secure, but then being able to see is huge. And this summer, we're redoing a lot of the high school cameras and updating those to a newer camera with better visibility, as well as a lot of the new cameras are 360s or 180s. So instead of having 4 cameras, you're trying to look through screens for an area, you have one with the 180 camera or a 360 camera. So it's going to help them a lot that way. So that'll be done this summer. That's where we're at, and hopefully we'll have some cool footage to make you guys a video after the summer. Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Josh. All right, next we have second reading for the latest stack of policies. We're going to continue to hammer through these. So this being a second reading,
Is there any questions brought forward? Okay, Mr. Chairman, we move this up to the action item 7B. All the policies.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? Okay, so we'll be 7B. Will be approved list of policies, I guess. All right, on to the action items. The public hearing has been closed, so I would entertain the motion to adopt the 2022-23 budget and make the appropriations and impose and categorize the taxes.
So what all do we have to read on this?
We just have to approve this resolution.
You can approve, or if you choose to, you could read the "be it resolved" paragraph at the bottom.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the budget, and that be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Sweet Home School District 55 hereby impose the taxes provided for the adopted budget at the rate of $50057 per 1,000 of assessed value for operations, 0.30 per 1,000 of assessed value for the local option levy, and in the amount of $1,774,000 for bonds, and that the taxes are hereby imposed and categorized for tax year 2022-23 upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have a question. So the debt service funds, that's, I understand, PERS is in there. What is the fund pay for that? Is that the payments that go into PERS and the GO fund?
Yeah, there are two funds in the debt service fund. The first is PERS, and what happens there, back in 2002 and 2003, we issued bonds to at that time pay off the amount that the state said was our unfunded liability to the PERS system. And so since then, what we do is, rather than paying as much each year directly to PERS, what we're doing is collecting a percentage of each employee's wages that then go into the debt service fund to be able to pay the debt service each year on those bonds. The second part, it says go fund, but really that's general obligation bond fund. This is the debt service that voters passed back in 2001 that paid for the kind of the Long Street side of the high school renovation, the additional classrooms at Hawthorne at that time. And so that's money that we're collecting each year that is used to pay for that debt service on that bond.
So this is money the school holds and then pays out when.
Correct, yes, yeah, we're paying to the bondholders.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. And then we have this list of policies.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the policies brought forward tonight.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, and I assume, Terry, will probably continue this moving forward as things kind of settle down. Okay, great.
We're to the H's.
We're to the H's, yeah. All right, do we have any board comments tonight? Okay, got all late items out of the way. So future agenda items, next board officers meeting is Wednesday, June 29th at 3:30. The superintendent's office is a little bit different than normal, just to try to make it fit with the 4th of July weekend. So next board meeting will be July 11th, 2022 at 6:30 here in the district office boardroom. And then just a reminder of the OSBA summer conference, July 8th through 10th, 2022. Talk to Julie if you are interested in attending. And we're adjourned.
Jason, I will